So welcome
Neat.
to the second. I call this Fit in Farmington,
Okay, super.
and the goal just to raise awareness of all the awesome places in town where people can, take care of their bodies and everything. So today we're here at Beni-Fits Pilates. Is that how you just say it as benefits or?
Yeah, or Beni-Fits.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. What's the is there like a story behind the name for the business?
Yeah, kind of. My name is Erin Benson. And
Oh,
so a
okay.
nickname of mine in college was Benny.
Okay.
And so whenever I was thinking about putting this all together, it was actually my boyfriend that we were just sitting on the couch one day and I was talking things over about how I wanted to get it started. And he goes, well, it should be called Beni-Fits.
That's
And
fantastic.
I was like, you're a genius. And then it was funny because then I shoot it out to my friends and my family and things like that to get their feedback.
Mhm.
And a lot of my sisters were like, I don't know, Erin, people are going to think you just don't know how to spell. But it ended up working out and I think it sounds cute.
Oh,
So we just stuck with it.
it's really great. So
Cool.
tell me a little bit. So yeah, so this is Erin Benson. She's the owner of Beni-Fits Pilates. Tell me a little bit about your background in Pilates. I know you also teach yoga, and what you
Yeah.
offer here at your studio.
Awesome. Yeah. So Um, I didn't really grow up feeling really comfortable and connected to my body. I was a dancer and I loved to move, but I always felt a little bit kind of floppy and uncoordinated. And in my early 20s, I started to get a lot of chronic pain. My knees were hurting, my low back was always hurting, and I just knew that something didn't feel right. So I was actually WOOFing, which is Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. It's an acronym, WWOOF.
That sounds
Yeah,
really cool. I would love to hear
very
more about
cool.
that later.
Yeah, that was an amazing experience. So I went to Hawaii, and while I was in Hawaii, I was, immersing myself in the community and meeting new people. I ended up finding a yoga teacher there that taught classical yoga, very, true to the source of the philosophy of yoga. Um, uh, and from that point, I started to gain a sense of connection. Yoga means union. It's more about the relationship that you have to your body in the essence than kind of the shapes that we tend to see on Instagram, which
Oh, okay.
is actually the technique. So the the point of yoga in traditional sense is to create a connection between your mind and your body and your breath. And then that connection can ripple out to influence your relationships with other things and other people. And hopefully, the idea is that the more comfortable and knowledgeable you are about what's going on in your own stuff,
Hmm.
your own head, your own body, your own heart, blah, 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 the more that you're going to be able to show up in the world authentically and not create waves, because
Okay.
it's messy to be in drama. So you get the drama out. So that was kind of the beginning of me even feeling like I had power over, I wasn't a victim to my body, that I am working with it. Every move I make, every step I take, every thought that I have is going to affect the way that this energetic system functions. I mean, we all know that when we get nervous, our heart starts to race.
Hmm.
We know that our thoughts affect what we feel physically. But this was my first experience of actually like diving into that and
Hmm.
having a really great teacher that would help to guide, you know, where are you and where do you want to be?
Hmm.
And so that was kind of the beginning of the whole mind body trip. And then I came back home. I actually went back and forth a few times, but then ended up back here, moved to Durango to work with a wilderness therapy organization. And while I was working there, I had a lady approach me and she said, I heard you're a really great yoga teacher. Do you want to become a Pilates teacher? And I didn't know what Pilates was at all, but I knew that I got a really good feeling from this lady, and my friend worked for her as a Pilates teacher. And so I ended up going into the training, kind of fell into it in a sense. She was like, I need more teachers. I want you to be one. And so I was like, okay. So it took me 15 months to complete my
Oh
Pilates
wow.
apprenticeship, which is a lot longer than it takes other people.
Hmm.
I was stubborn, I was a little lazy, and I was scatterbrained. And but so 879 hours I think is what I finally logged, because in Pilates what you have to do is you have to complete a certain number of coursework hours, but you also have to get your body to a level 5 body. You have to be able to do level 5 if you're going to go through the Pilates Method Alliance is what it was called back then. Now it has a different name, but if you're going to go through that channel of certification, you have to be able to do level 5 material. And it just took me a long time to get there. So I went through all that, and her name was Kim. She owned the Durango Pilates Connection. And whenever I finished that, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I ended up coming back to Farmington and worked at the college. And I've been there ever since, just sharing yoga, sharing Pilates, mostly sharing mindfulness in a sense of inspiring people to realize that you're allowed to feel and you have the power to change if you're willing to change. Nothing's gonna get different if I keep approaching things with the same attitude and with the same technique. The only way I'm gonna make change, if I want it, is to try something new. And so that's been my main philosophy, and I'm kind of the cheerleader over there for the Encore program and for all my students. I like to work up levels and remind people that you don't have to be in pain to make progress.
Yeah. Well, I definitely, I came to your class yesterday, and I definitely, the mindfulness thing is definitely something that really impressed me with your teaching style. And as you're very hands-on, you're very, your classes aren't big. You're able to, get your hands on people, help them to, and there's a lot of, you encourage people to make those mind-body connections, and that's really cool. It's something that I try hard to do. I'm sometimes not the best at, but especially like you were talking about with, you had chronic pain. I'm sure that was a big part of your journey in that area, because I think that sometimes in our society today, there's this idea that you should just feel perfect and awesome, and that's if all the time, and if you don't feel that way, then there's something wrong, and that you need to go and take medicine or take drugs or whatever, and then so that you feel happy and awesome and everything all the time. But that's not life, and really, if we did feel that way all the time, it'd be kind of boring.
Yeah, exactly.
But being able to have the space to be able to recognize the different sensations and feelings in our bodies and looking at them in a non-judgmental way, just so that it's amazing the power that has in overcoming obstacles and the pain and the difficulties that we have in our bodies.
Big time.
So when did you open Beni-Fits?
We opened in June of 2025.
Okay.
So yeah, and the idea came in March of 2025. So
quick turnaround.
Quick turnaround. Yeah, I had an amazing opportunity to purchase the equipment, and it was kind of like a snowball effect. It's like, wow, I could do this. I was almost going to apply for another program. I even thought about massage and started talking to the massage school in town. That's a really great school. And I almost went that route. And the day after I talked to her, the equipment basically popped into my life. And I was like, well, maybe I can make this work. And so we opened June 16th, 2025, and we had a grand opening in August because the summer was a little busy, so we postponed that a bit. Actually, I guess it was the first week in September we had the grand opening, but we've just been rolling ever since.
Yeah, well, I mean, you were pretty much full the other day or yesterday, and so one of the things that you mentioned yourself that you didn't really know anything about Pilates when you first started. So I think it's probably a pretty safe assessment or safe guess that pretty much everybody doesn't know a lot about Pilates.
Yeah.
What would you say? So it's kind of a two-part question. One is, what makes Pilates special, or what is like the core mission or goal of Pilates? And then two, what are some common misconceptions surrounding Pilates that you have come across in your time doing this?
Okay, great. So Pilates was originally called Controlology by Joseph Pilates, who was the founder of Pilates. And he has an incredibly interesting story. I don't have to go into all of it, but this program was developed by him over a 20-year period to basically pull him out of a lot of illnesses. He had asthma, rickets, and rheumatic fever as a child, and just became obsessed with functional anatomy and different kinds of calisthenics, ballet, all kinds of stuff like that. And then it was around World War One. He was in an internment camp over in Germany, or England. Sorry, he was a German guy interned in England, and the word started to get around that he was really good at helping people stay healthy or get healthy. And so he started working with people in the hospitals. And whenever people couldn't use certain parts of their body, he would take springs from the hospital beds, attach them to the headboards. And that is how all this stuff was originally invented. Because then you have constant resistance. You can always work the negative. If you see that your springs are getting weird or making sounds, then you know I'm missing something. Because the spring is basically going to teach you about how you are functioning with it. You know, if your carriage slams shut when you're doing footwork, you're going to be like, oh, I missed something. You know, basically something bailed ship, and now I lost control of the springs. And so knowing that the term that he used was controlology, one of the biggest principles of Pilates is that we want to be not flailing around, but constantly connected throughout any movement. And they can go so simple as just lifting your knee up and down to, you know, doing essentially a backflip on the floor and then landing on your feet. And, you know, getting to different levels like that. But control, coordination, flow, breathing, and centering are at the heart of every movement. And so, you know, what makes it special is the connection to the center of you. And when we talk about center, Joe Pilates' term for it was the powerhouse. And the powerhouse is basically everything from the pelvic floor up to the diaphragm, 360 all the way around. But then, you know, also just thinking of the spine as the central column that everything revolves around. We know that nerves pass through, they feed the organs, they allow us to move and everything like that. We take care of the center first, and everything in Pilates is intended to radiate from that center out. And so I'd say that maybe one of the most common misconceptions about Pilates is that people think it's aerobics that you can do mindlessly. But you can't. One of his definitions, he wrote a book called Return to Life Through Controlology. And his definition was Pilates is the complete coordination of mind, body, and spirit. You have to think. And then the spirit piece is what's your emotional investment in what you're doing? Like if somebody's going through a class thinking only about how much they hate whatever part of their body they're trying to work with, you know, or how, you know, I'll have clients that stupid shoulder. I'm like, well, it's the only one you got. Well, you got two, but like that's the only right one you have. But like if your spirit is if the attitude is right, if the energy is right, if the upswing is there, you're going to perform the exercise completely different than if you feel dragged down or bored or annoyed with having to think or change, you know, because there's a lot of little techniques. There's actually 7 fundamental skills that are required to understand and execute Pilates practice efficiently and correctly. And those 7 fundamental skills you can see in all of the work, whether you're on the apparatus, whether you're on the mat, or I don't know. I guess those are the only 2 places you can do it. But you find those 7 fundamental skills in all levels. So from the very fundamental thing of lifting my knee up without moving my spine or bulging my tummy or doing weird stuff like that, can I have the support that is efficient and, I mean, I don't like to use the word right, but kind of like the correct use of the most functional approach to doing that task. So I'm not working
the way
from
that it was made to be done.
Exactly. Recruiting the right muscles to get the job done
made to do it.
without a dysfunctional habit messing me up. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's really fascinating. This is I'm sure I could talk with you for a long, long time about all of this stuff because as you're talking, it's just interesting, kind of some of the parallels and the things that I have seen that work really well um, in my practice in physical therapy when I'm rehabilitating somebody or just helping them get stronger or whatever,
Yeah.
and seeing some of those parallels between some of the philosophies that you're talking about and the way that the machines help you to move.
Yeah.
So something I'd like to do, because I think that um, you know people just don't really know a lot about it. Could we walk over here and
Yeah.
you kind of give a little lowdown of the apparatus? Is that the word for it?
Yeah,
Apparatus.
totally.
Okay.
Apparatus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, let's head over here and
Cool.
I'll pause this.
Cool.
Tell us a little bit about the apparatus. What all is going on here?
Cool. This is actually called the Cadillac. Because it was the supreme of all the pieces. Another word for it is the trapeze table.
Okay.
And here on the trapeze table, we've got a push-through bar, which is right here. And I mean, really, the possibilities are absolutely endless.
Yeah.
You want me to show
Yeah,
stuff?
that'd be
Okay,
great.
cool.
Show me a couple things.
Cool. So one of the easiest things to work on with the push through bar is, so it's obviously spring loaded on both sides, and depending on the person and the amount of weight that they want to use, we can take them off, put stronger ones on, and all that. But the push through bar is essentially spring loaded from above, and one of the simplest exercises, and very surprisingly challenging, is I'm trying to roll back into flexion. I'm going to push down my arms, exhale, got to breathe or it won't work, and push through. And then as I come out, there's a couple different ways to approach it. I'm going to stay in flexion, keep my hands pressing against the bar, and all that spring tension's going into my body. And here's the control piece, because those springs want to close so bad that moment right there, if I'm not really in touch, it can snap. And it kind of feels like, some people just want to go fast and whoa, I swing up and we lose control. And there's, lots of other things we can do. We can twist open, we can come back, we can twist open, push down, come over, little side bend. And the idea is that throughout this whole process, I am staying connected through my powerhouse, through my spine, and everything like that to complete it. Now you can also do things laying on your back. And I was working with a client earlier today that recently had a neck surgery.
Okay.
And she's been working with her physical therapist, doing things like lifting a 6-pound bar over her head. Mm-hmm. But when she goes to do that, she loses it from here, mm-hmm. because the range of motion isn't here yet.
Yeah.
So we just lay down. We take this guy from here, give a little pull, rotate, push. And so not only are the muscles that are helping her actually take it above her head going to be firing, but as she brings it down and rotates, there's a lot of other stuff going on in the armpit and in the shoulder and in the mid-back that are going to make this a possible thing for her to do. She's lifting a heavy bar over her head, but we're just doing it a little differently. And then
having that constant resistance coming there changes just the way that movement is. That's really interesting.
Exactly. And then the whole time that she's doing that, we're also making sure that her spine is staying in a neutral position. Mm-hmm. So she's not going to leverage by pulling up like that and arching off the table or something silly. And then, once we complete that a few times, we can do something where we then work on integrating those muscles to come back up. Uh-huh. And then you can work back down, deep flexion, pull back, and then push away. And so it's not a lot of weight. I mean, a lot of the work in here is done with low resistance, mm-hmm. low repetition even. I mean, usually most exercises are only done like a maximum of 8 times. Mm-hmm. But the idea is to flow from one thing to another and get a whole body workout incorporating flexion, extension, side bend, and twisting in every single practice, mm-hmm. so that by the end of it, you feel like everything's worked a little, but nothing's completely fatigued.
Okay. So what are you said these are called fuzzies?
Those are called fuzzies, and they're for more advanced work. I mean, you can do things really simple just by stretching into them. Like you can put them, you put your feet onto them, and then if somebody just wanted to get a good stretch, that can be really nice. But kind of the most interesting and fascinating of them involves, whoa, coming up, and then I try to keep the legs together, and I'm going to start in a deep flexion and then extend everything through, if that bar wasn't there, into then deep extension. And then coming back, starting at the center, rolling through, and the head follows.
And I'm guessing that not too many of your classes you're doing that.
No. This is more for, so far, this is just fun for me and the other instructor that works here. And then, I haven't had a client. I mean, it'd be great to have clients that were, gymnasts, dancers, things like that. Mostly I'm kind of doing more like rehabilitative focus and then just like overall body conditioning. But dancers and gymnasts find a huge level of benefit from doing Pilates because it just makes them stronger at whatever it is they love. Baseball players, one of my clients is a dad of a baseball boy, and he was like, man, all the catchers need to be doing this because this and this and this reason catching's going like this these days. And so I think that there's a lot of ways that you could use this to cross train. Basically.
Especially when I work with the young athletes, the thing that I see the most is because they're growing so quickly, their body awareness is just not great because all of a sudden they're getting
big
into this bigger body. Tell me a little bit about the carriage here.
So this is the universal reformer apparatus is the name of this whole piece of equipment. This here is the carriage, and it's hooked up. There's 5 springs on the bottom. And so depending on the exercise that you're doing, sometimes we use 1 spring or none springs. And then sometimes we use up to 5 for different people on different things. You can start laying down with your feet against what we call the foot bar. You can push back and forth, and that is just very restorative. You get this feeling that your legs are connected to your center as you work against the carriage. You're trying to become one with it in the sense of moving back and forth. That's just the start of it all.
Yeah, I can tell, like, we just with all the springs and hangy things, and like we got this.
This one's a roll down bar, so it helps do a roll back motion. And then there's some other fun things to do. There's handles that come from the reformer, and these can be used in your hands. Yesterday in class, we did some kind of like lateral lat pull downs where you're lying reclined. But then if you put them on your feet, you can, you're pushing against the springs again, carrying all that weight every time you move your legs, and we're making circles there. You can kneel and work. There's a whole arm series where we pull back while we're kneeling, or come to the side and you pull like that, right? So it's kind of a home gym. We can put one arm overhead and we can do pulls like that. And then we can do twisting too, where we work against to twist. So it's pretty interesting.
Well, and what you said about like saying that it's going to tell you if your movement isn't smooth. It's going to be very, very obvious. You're getting that feedback from all of that.
Big time.
Well, we could spend hours.
Really, I don't know where to stop.
But thank you so much for your time.
Cool. And, thank you, James.
If people want to come and try out your classes, what's the best way to do that? Do you have a website, Facebook? What's the best way to do it?
Yeah, we've got a website. It's Beni-Pilates.com, Benipilates.com. We're also, you can Google us. We've got a Google business profile. We have a Facebook, not an Instagram yet. We'll get there. But you can also, if you Google us, you'll find my number up there, and you can give a call to that too. And But yeah, the website is the best place to start. I've been getting a lot of calls, people asking, when's classes? How much are classes? You can find everything on the website.
Yeah.
And so start there. And then if you do have questions, you can give me a call.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
great. Well,
Cool.
thank you so much. And
Thank
everyone should
you.
come check out
Appreciate it.
Beni-Fits Pilates.
Ta-da!